Hi guys, this is Klazart. This is set 3 of the quarterfinal matchup between fOu and Lomo. It's being played on Athena, and boy, what an exciting matchup we've had so far alongside with Diggity and Cholera. Lomo starting up in teal here at the 6 o'clock position, fOu in brown at the 10 o'clock position. So far, it's 1-1, it's even Stevens. Both players reeling from blows with each other, both players have had their respective pounds of flesh, and now it's up to either one of these players to try and establish a lead, try and establish some sort of a beachhead from which to launch the final assault and try and take control of this matchup. There's not a lot to differentiate between these two players. Both players have made bold opening gambits thus far. The argument remains whether or not the strategy from Lomo in Game 2 to build that racks inside fOu's base was the act of ultimate courage or ultimate cowardice. Cholera made an excellent comment off screen that whether you view it as cowardice or courage might depend on your personal preference. I'm sure if it was Boxer who had done that, as Cholera said, no one would have been calling it an act of cowardice. Nevertheless, the debate goes on, and we're yet to see, I think, whether or not Lomo is able to and willing to go up against fOu toe to toe and actually take him down in a straight up game, in a straight up fist fight, which I think very few people are able to do to fOu. I think you generally, if you're going to beat fOu in a best of 5, there's going to have to be some cheekiness somewhere. But I think this is definitely proving to be a series that outweighs all our expectations, especially where Terran versus Terran is concerned. And Lomo just starting off with the barracks outside of his base to start with on this one.
Yeah, I think the big indicator will be who's playing heads up, basically, or is Lomo willing to play heads up? Is he willing to basically go into a fist fight with fOu over the long game? I think that will be the big indicator, whether we see him go for kind of, just treasy strategies across the board, if he's going to go, or if he's willing to take it past I guess the 12-minute mark would be the really big indicator, putting down additional expansions, getting into the longer expansion game. But of course it could come down to an issue of tactics. I mean, if last game he does think, hey, I'm superior in micromanagement, but I don't know if I can stand toe-to-toe macro-wise across the long term, let me keep it close macro, then maybe we'll just keep seeing 2 factory pushes, keep seeing cheese. And then there's the other factor is as well, fOu cheese. He's got this barracks outside position, might be thinking about doing a 2 factory push here and actually building it. Yeah, no, he might be thinking about doing a 2 factory push and just lifting off that barracks really fast to get a spot off. I'm surprised he's putting it at that position. Maybe he just wants to make sure he gets a marine out early. I don't think he can really box anything in from that position.
Yeah, actually, I think the fact he hasn't put down his gas indicates to me he's going to be building a command center right now. He's doing what he's done several times. He's building a couple barracks to put early pressure. Yeah, this is the barracks into command center move. Yeah. I actually really like this build from fOu. It basically, you put a lot of pressure early on to the opponent, perhaps confuse him about your true intentions, and then while you're putting pressure up, you get your expansion actually, and you take your economic lead quite early. But looks like Lomo actually is getting through with his SCV, so he's going to spot this gambit here, and I believe that certainly takes away from the potency from this gambit, because Lomo will know there's actually no real danger to him. A couple of Marines will be able to be stopped by the first Vulture coming out, and looks like, yeah, Lomo is completely prepared here with an SCV and 2 Marines on top of his ramp. That doesn't mean, though, that fOu won't take an advantage from this, just simply the fact that he's gone for an earlier expansion, and looks like fOu actually building a bunker here, so he's taking this to the next level. He's going to be going for this really interesting bunker contain in the front. This really shows you the diversity of fOu's strategies. I mean, going back to it, there's no inherent glory or cowardice in doing a cheese. It's really you try to outthink your opponent. It is a rock paper scissors game in some ways, and there's I don't think there's any particular glory in taking it to a very long dropship Goliath tank combination game. That's just one possible path, and fOu is showing us a very different possible path. But by the way, we did see a starport coming from Lomo, so Lomo is going to take the air route, and I think that's actually a very smart idea against the fast tech from a fast expand from fOu. You are vulnerable to that fast Wraith harass, and Lomo once again is going for it. He went for it in game 1. Well, actually, fOu went for it in game 1, but he responded by doing the same thing. And this game, he's going to be going for 1 factory into starport again, and that's actually a really smart idea. He knows that his front door is blocked off. He won't be able to get any units out basically until he gets tanks. So I think this is a very smart idea, and we're going to be seeing some raids entering fOu's base right now. And really, this is turning out to be quite an exciting series. I don't necessarily see the need for a long macro-oriented game. If both players are willing to play exciting StarCraft at the early stages, then really, if Lomo manages to win even through cheese, quote unquote, he's still the victor. And even if he knows he can't beat fOu in a long game, is my point, he perhaps can be considered quite smart for not playing a long game against him. Anyway, those are just my 2 cents.
Well, ultimately, he who conquers is Alexander the Great, and I think that axiom has to probably stand true here as well. So I take Holler's point. That being said, I would still love to see a long 20-30 minute game between these two guys just punching it out, trying to pull the victory out. And also, I think there's a lot of clever poker going on. fOu has to know that he's put that bunker down so that Lomo's going to probably try and counter with air at the very least, and so fOu has got to be prepared at some level for this. How prepared he's going to be is going to be the big question. That first rate arriving for Lomo, fOu is going to get his starport up any second now, and it's just a question of how much damage Lomo's going to be able to do. fOu's got a couple of Marines back as well, and cleverly enough, he didn't position those Marines down in his bunker. He's left a bunker there, and I'm not even sure if that bunker has any units in it. But one of the fOu's SCV's building supply depot gets taken out. Lomo obviously doesn't have cloaking technology yet. I'm not sure if he put a control tower down. I think he did. Now this is going to be the key test for fOu. He's managed to delay Lomo a little bit in terms of with that bunker. What I had thought when I first saw Lomo see fOu's strategy, my thought was straight away fOu has got to put a bunker down. I didn't anticipate he was going to put the bunker down outside Lomo's choke as opposed to near his own to allow him to defend. Obviously he's delayed Lomo, and that's given him the time to get another bunker up. He's now got a group of about 6 Marines, but Lomo's got 3 siege tanks and he's got the raid support. fOu obviously trying to get the raids up as well, and I really think that fOu is going to struggle here. The fact that Lomo managed to get that scout in, Lomo's got siege mode up as well, but fOu has also got siege mode. He's got the one tank. That bunker has slowed Lomo down just enough for fOu to get that second tank out, and I think fOu is now going to be in a decent position to actually be able to seize this. This is going to be the key battle right here. Lomo pushing in with a couple of SCVs. fOu loses his first tank straight away. Lomo not even going for the siege, but he's taken some serious damage on those tanks. He's going to try and repair and come in for another round. fOu is desperately trying to finish one of those tanks off because he knows that it's going to be a while before he gets his second tank out to get into a defensive position. Meanwhile, fOu building an academy as well, anticipating the cloaking technology from Lomo. He's got his wraith out as well, and I think if fOu can hold this, he's going to be in a very strong position obviously in the game. Lomo still hasn't even started his National Expo, and obviously the other key factor influencing this game is the long, and Lomo doesn't seem to have a lot of SCVs out there either, or maybe it's just that I'm counting them wrong, but Lomo has a long supply route to his attack. He's now managed to, he looks like he's got into a little bit of a stalemate position. He's not got enough forces to actually break fOu's front door down. He's set up a contain. fOu now looks like he's building 3 starports, so he's going to go for mass raids, and I think fOu is probably going to be in a stronger position in this game. Lomo needs to make a push now, or he's not going to be able to break this defense, and fOu will reap the benefits of his economic advantage.
I definitely agree with that assessment. I think it was clever of fOu to push up early, make sure that Lomo couldn't get a quick command center to match his, make sure he capped that economic lead, and then from this point on, all he has to do is hold out, and he's doing a fantastic job at that. Pushing up with that wraith, picking off that SCV to keep that turret from going up, which is very clever. At this point, Lomo still could get an extra expansion down and play a long-term contain game, but honestly, with that 3 starport out, it's not going to be long before fOu is going to have dropships and just be able to go above this contain. Those turrets have to go up, and Lomo is going to have to get a lot of wraith out in the meantime, and not producing a lot of SCVs, so he's way economically behind. I really, wow, and this is going to be the key moment right here. fOu can just hold out another minute or two. Those 3 starports are going to be able to produce an overwhelm. Wow, Lomo actually taking down a lot of wraith there. Counter wraith coming in. Doesn't look like that final wraith has any cloak. Looks like cloak ran out onto the front 2 of Lomo's wraiths as well. He's going to have to back off, losing additional right there. That was a good kind of push down by fOu to make sure that basically that Lomo didn't manage to just push in right at that moment. But Lomo, has a long resupply route at this point. fOu has the economic advantage, and the more this goes on, the more I feel like this is just seeping into fOu's hands.
Yeah, I agree. I think by now, actually, maybe calling this early, but looks like Lomo's attack has completely failed. The moment fOu has more tanks, I feel, on the ground than Lomo does in front of his base, the game is pretty much in fOu's hands, and it's his game to lose at this point. fOu now is about to kill off the engineering base, so no more turrets there, and really, there's absolutely nothing left in that contain. It's just a paper tiger there. It's 2 turrets and 4 Marines guarding Lomo from the brunt of fOu's army. And it looks like Lomo resuming SCV building, but the observer was trying to show us that he wasn't building SCVs, and he basically had maybe 10 SCVs mining minerals, so it was really an all-in, I guess, tech rush here. And looks like he's going to try to pick off a couple of tanks, but fOu with 1 cloak wraith might be able to ward this off. Looks like he won't, actually. Looks like he's not going to lose this, but critically also, you got to remember, Lomo only has 1 command center, and hence only 1 comsat station, and looks like he's forced to retreat here, so he's only getting a scan every 30 seconds or so, and fOu's numerical superiority in wraiths will soon be able to tell. And fOu now picking off a tank that was trying to reinforce the siege line here. I'm not sure when fOu will decide to transition into Goliaths, but the moment he does that, that will also seal the victory for him. I think for now he's happy to go with Wraiths though, although I think Goliaths wouldn't be a bad choice at this point because of those turrets in front. fOu now sending his Wraiths back, and wow, 3 starport Wraiths. We have not seen this in a long time. He hasn't built a single dropship. He's just going for the area superiority. I really like to see this style of game. This reminds me more of old school times, and looks like fOu is going to finally take this area battle. Last Wraith for Lomo going down here, and last tank for Wraith going down. The contain will be broken in a matter of seconds. The contain is down here. This just reminds me, GG coming from Lomo immediately. Wow, I didn't expect it that soon, but I guess he realized he needs to save his energy for the next game. And fOu looking absolutely great, walking into a 2-1 lead here, nodding to himself.
I think that nod signifies something quite insidious. It signifies something. We talk about greatness, we talk about skill, we talk about micro, macro mechanics, talk about bravado and courage and cowardice, but I think what you saw right there from fOu is something that I've only ever seen from in recent times from the like of, and I know it sounds strange to say recent, but from the likes of Savior. And what we saw was fOu controlling not only the game, but controlling the way his opponent played the game, and that was the genius of that play by fOu. He first obviously put down his command center, and once Lomo had scouted it, he expected Lomo's react. By blocking off, by putting that bunker down, he gave Lomo no options. Lomo had to go aggressive. Lomo had to commit himself wholeheartedly to an attack because he could not take the command center, because he could not expand. Therefore, he was forced to commit himself to an all-out ground assault. And fOu therefore knew exactly what his opponent's strategy was going to be and was prepared for it, and then he put that second bunker down a little bit further out from his base. He didn't put the bunker in a defensive position, he put the bunker simply in a position where Lomo had to actually break the bunker before he could get through, and that gave fOu the few seconds, it was literally a matter of 2 seconds, that fOu had that second siege tank in position that allowed him to hold his defense initially, and then from there on obviously getting the third starport. But what we saw there at this level of StarCraft, it's crazy to see it at this level in this game, in this sort of game, one player exerting complete psychological almost control over the actions of his opponent, dictating the game, not only the way he played it, but the way his opponent played it, and Lomo was break the shackles no matter what he tried. So for me, that is a much greater victory than what Lomo effected in game 2.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree. That was mentally debilitating right there. First of all, Lomo got the scout. fOu had the build, a very risky build. He went for the quick command center. Lomo saw it and still was not able to take the game down, and I think that is a huge indicator in the kind of the relationship between fOu and Lomo as this game progresses. fOu is taking the position of the aggressor, of the dominator. He's making Lomo be the prey essentially, and as a result, I think he's going to it bodes very well for him going into game 4.
Yeah, it's absolutely, yeah, I think Klaser said it very well, and by the way, it is very good. I'm very excited about, casting this with you. It's an honor. I've listened to all your videos in the past, and it's great to be finally doing commentary with Klaser. But anyway, I think, just to take the opposite view for a second, I do have to say, Lomo pushed fOu to the edge, though, in the last game. It came to a very close thing. Lomo reacted very well there, going for the first Wraith and then going immediately for 3 siege tanks. I think that was a brilliant counter build there against the fast expand, and not going all Wraiths, but actually just going for the 1 Wraith to harass and force fOu into going for either 1 Goliath or for Wraiths himself, and then using his superiority on the ground with tanks to push up. And really, it came down to split second timing. But if the build had gone the other way around, if the second tank hadn't arrived there, we might be saying how Lomo went for an absolutely great counter to what was perhaps a foolishly expansionistic build from fOu. So I don't know. I mean, it was such a close game, but I still think fOu did pretty much force Lomo into going for Wraiths, at least going for 1 Wraith, or going for an early attack instead of expanding. I do agree with you on that, but just taking the opposite view, I do think it was a very close game overall, and I'm excited to see the next game in the series.
Okay, moving on to game 4. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.